I need someone to show me my place in all this.
The Last Jedi review, the spoiler review for all you Star Wars fans that, a lot of people, this movie hasn't been controversial at all, hasn't been polarizing. Everybody seems to love it, so we're just going to confirm everybody's love for this film. I'm here with Aaron. Aaron, how you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good. Here with Andres, the marshmallow that made his debut on the It review, fan favorite.
It is my return.
And I'm here with everybody's hated Nerd Soup character, Marissa. No, really everybody's favorite. I mean, after the Game of Thrones.
I thought you were talking about Teddy.
Yeah, me too. How you doing, Marissa?
Fine.
Wow.
She's salted on Nerd Soup. Right?
Oh, no.
And last but least, Teddy Mangione.
How's it going, guys?
Isn't it last but not least?
Is it not least?
It's not.
I'm
least.
not sure.
It's not least?
I am the fan favorite.
Okay.
You know, people did warm to you on the Stranger Things.
It's about time.
Even though those scores were kind of just ridiculous.
I didn't get any heat from that.
Let him, he's still trying to find his way.
That hat is disgusting.
What?
He's wearing a Patriots hat, so everybody knows.
I think
It's
it's
a solid hat.
Very important to let our audience know what they're dealing with when it comes to Teddy. So
Yes.
I'm glad you put that out there.
Yeah. You have jury duty later this week, right? We'll just do general thoughts of the movie, how we felt about it overall. Aaron, we'll start with you.
Thank you.
What did you think?
Second
Viewing.
Yeah, I saw it for a second time today, and I didn't want to be the guy because everyone was saying, like, oh, it's better the second time. Like, yeah, right. They're just saying that. But I got to say, I did enjoy it more the second time around. I think once you expect some of the flaws that are going to happen after the first viewing, it isn't that bad the second time, and I did like it a lot more. I still have a little bit of problems with it, but we'll get into that later. But overall, I did like the movie.
I thought it was great. Visually speaking, it's what you come to expect from a Star Wars movie. I'm sure a lot of problems have arisen from the Finn and Rose storyline. But overall, I thought it was a good movie.
I love the movie. I've only seen it once so far, but the first time around, like, the issues with it, I didn't care too much. Like,
So you're paid by Disney.
oh
Yeah.
my god.
You've only seen it once?
You've only seen it once.
No, like, the Finn Rose storyline didn't make much sense, but it was fun to watch. My favorite was the Luke and Rey scenes. I thought Luke was great. I thought his character progression made total sense considering, like, he tried to start a new generation and then failed even more miserably.
The Finn and Rose stuff was stuff that bothered me the first viewing, but like I said before, when you know that's coming on the second viewing,
You took a bathroom break?
no, I didn't take.
Oh.
I took a mental bathroom break, but it didn't bother me the second time as much. What about you, Ted? How'd you feel?
I thought it was a really good movie. I would have liked to see more of the Luke starting his own Jedi, I guess.
The flashbacks.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more of that.
I love those scenes. How you got a different perspective from Kylo, his telling of the story, and Luke's telling of the story.
But that's the reason why he left, and I feel like they should have showed more of that because he's been gone for how long? Like
6 years.
Yeah.
The mystery behind it though is kind of cool. Like you don't really know the whole story, but yeah, I see what you mean. That those flashbacks are really cool.
There's a lot of the Jedi scenes in the ending is what filled in the gap for me because I was kind of waiting for more Jedis and more training, I guess.
Well, it definitely hits on its big moments, but I guess you guys want to start with the Luke and Rey stuff?
Well, let's start from the very first scene. The first Star Wars movie that literally takes place directly after the last one. And I think it's the first Star Wars movie where we actually see the war. Where it's like the movie takes place over a 3-day span, and it's really about an evacuation. It's kind of like Dunkirk in space, where it wasn't about the resistance beating the First Order. It was about running away and preserving the rebellion now that they are a rebellion.
It's amazing that at the end of the movie, what's left of the resistance can all fit into the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, they had a
cool.
ton of ships. Like, it's kind of tragic.
I think that's what kind of bothered me the first viewing was that it was only a 3-day span. So it kind of felt like the time in the movie was running like real time, like the 2 hours you were watching the film. That's how long it was taking during the story. And I feel that's kind of how they stretched, I guess, Finn and Rose's story arc. That is very interesting. I wasn't expecting that, how it felt so condensed in only a 3-day span?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that, right? So it's just like a couple of days, maybe a week.
Well, it's one sequence. It is...
yeah, it's continuous.
Yeah, it's the resistance running away from the rebellion, and that's it.
It's not like Empire where you can assume that Luke's been on
First
Dagobah
Order.
for a couple of weeks. Han and Leia have been on the run for a couple of weeks. Like you said, the story is progressing beat to beat about how they're trying to evacuate this planet. But what did you guys think specifically of that first opening set piece with the bombers, Poe Dameron, his exchanges with Hux?
That's one. Yeah, I thought that was a great sequence. I thought that fucking looked so cool with the bombers when they were lighting all the bombs and they were dropping it in. Poe started it off. I love Poe, man. He's hilarious.
I thought that was a great callback to like how he began Force Awakens, and it's
with the Kylo.
am I gonna talk next? You're gonna talk next?
Yeah,
like,
I
was
thought
nice.
the humor worked. I'm on hold for General Hux. I am Hux. Yeah. He's freaking out. A lot of people said that Hux kind of became a caricature.
That's exactly what I was gonna say next.
He was over the top in The Force Awakens, though. That speech.
But they raised him up like some
machine.
kind of first order Hitler, and now he's the butt of every joke in this movie.
Well, he should be, in my opinion, he should be the lead guy, not Kylo Ren.
I mean, he tried, and
Ren
then Kylo force choked him.
Yeah.
He's like, just, no, you're
but
not.
that's like, I feel like that's why Kylo Ren is the only reason why he's so powerful is because of the Force. Like, he shouldn't be commander. He's doing all these impulsive stuff that's jeopardizing the Republic.
No, you're right, but I mean, what is Hux?
I mean, he can't do anything about it. He tossed him in the.
I love when Hux took out his gun when he thought Kylo was just
my
unconscious, and then he just put it right back in when Kylo woke up. But you
think that had to tie in with what happened with Kylo, with Luke? How Luke was gonna kill Kylo, but he got caught doing it.
I think Hux is like, this is my shot, or once he wakes up, I'm not gonna be able to do shit.
Yeah, but if he didn't wake up, then Kylo's done, and then Hux, and then who's the new villain? I mean, they can just kill
nobody.
Yeah,
it's just they would have to find like a new dark side user. They would have to like hold auditions. Like, do you like the dark side?
Either that,
Can
or
you
they
rule the galaxy.
That, or they make Ren just all powerful, and then they have to combat her.
I'm assuming it's easier for them to find new leadership. Like, say if Kylo hadn't survived, because I'm assuming the First Order kind of has taken over the world, and then the rebellion is just like it's what's left in the Millennium Falcon now.
Yeah,
So
the First Order controls the galaxy.
This is the first time
they
you
have
see him lose.
A better support system, I would say.
I want to go back to the opening.
The opening already.
The decision that Poe Dameron makes where he takes out the surface cannons on the Dreadnought and Leia tells him to pull back, we can get off this planet now, and Poe insists that they continue the attack. What did you think about that decision? Do you think Poe should have pulled back or continue that attack and take out the Dreadnought?
Well, they try to set his character up, like we see later on in his movie and his arc, that he's impulsive and he always thinks he's doing the right thing, but it might not really in the grand scheme of things. That's who he is. He's the best pilot in the Resistance. He sees the big, not the big picture, but what's in front of him, and he wants to take it out.
But was it the right decision to risk all the bombers?
It wasn't.
No, but hey, you never know. If that thing's still up and active, they could have.
That's what I said. The Dreadnought. Imagine if they were tracing them through hyperspace with the Dreadnought. Then they don't.
Isn't there more than one though?
No, there was only one Dreadnought. That was
the Star Destroyers around it, and then
they had a Star Destroyer, Snoke ship, and then the Dreadnought. But the Dreadnought was the big weapon that that can help destroy a planet, let alone a ship.
I think it's a decision that has to be made. You make the sacrifice, but I don't think anyone would really want to admit that, especially Leia. She points to all the people that died and all the lives lost, but for the grand scheme of the Resistance, I think that's the right move to make.
Well, my favorite scene in that whole opening sequence was when Rose's sister, Paige Tico, when she's in the bomber and she's trying to kick.
She Odell'd the shit out of that fucking robot.
I thought she dropped
So
it.
did I. I was like, oh my
God,
God, she botched it.
But I think that sacrifice for a character that we've only known for a couple of minutes, that I really felt that sacrifice when she's closing her eyes.
When they introduce Rose later.
Yeah, it springs Rose.
It's like, it's a great, like, I feel like that sacrifice is what Rogue One needed. Like, they did more for Rose and her sister than they did for all of Rogue One, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. That death, that one death, it had more weight than any character in Rogue One.
And it was like, when Rose was saying her sister had just died, like, I got that. Like, we had just seen it. I felt the emotional weight for it. It made sense to me.
It's the reason why they're able to get away, too. If she doesn't do that, then the Dreadnought's still up, and then that whole was just a big waste. You lost half your army.
Yeah.
All your bombers.
I mean, Leia was saying to Poe that how many people did we lose for this attack?
I was totally with Poe until I realized that, like, I thought when he was going rogue and deciding to just, like, take on the Dreadnought, I thought he was doing that by himself. I didn't realize that he was calling in other people and it was going to go so terribly. So when he was like, I'm just going to do it, I was like, okay, that makes sense if it's just you. But making the decision for other people.
Yeah, and those bombers were awesome to see. It was like, it was like a World War II scene, bring in the fucking bombers. Like, what the hell? And then obviously the Resistance gets away. And it's our first scene with Snoke and Hux, and I thought that was a great scene when Snoke appears as the hologram face, and he just drags Hux through the floor. It's like, oh, good, I'll take it in my quarters.
It's like, nah, we're taking this right now.
You knew he was going to get roasted immediately.
Yeah. Oh, good, Supreme Leader.
It really demonstrates how much more powerful Snoke is than everyone else, though, and how he could easily just, kick everyone's ass.
Yeah, it sets him up as a villain that's definitely not going to die.
Is he one of the strongest? I guess he's not like Force users.
Well, they showed. I mean, Vader
really
was
don't
able,
know.
Vader was able to force choke somebody on his own ship.
Yeah.
The Snoke wasn't even. Was he even in the vicinity?
I think he was on a different ship in the fleet that they were chasing the rebellion with.
Right.
Or the resistance.
And he kind of did it effortlessly.
Well, I don't know. Poe doesn't see Snoke's ship until the last sequence.
That's what I was thinking. I think Snoke was at a different point in the galaxy, and then he met them light speed to where they were at Dakar. Because Snoke wasn't near Starkiller Base at the end of The Force Awakens. So he might have been on his ship like he was talking to them throughout the movie. But it does demonstrate how powerful this man was. And his scenes throughout the movie were some of my favorite scenes. And then Finn awakens once the attack happens, and the first thing he says is, "Where's Rey?" I thought that was a funny moment when BB-8's like, Finn's walking naked and leaking. What the hell is going on?
That's so stupid. Who does that?
BB-8's comedy was funny. It was thumbs up. I was dying to that.
That was Force Awakens.
What?
That was Force
Oh
Awakens.
yeah, it was Force Awakens. That sucks, man. I had just watched Force Awakens before I went. I just watched Force Awakens.
Never fail with comedy.
The first thing Finn says is, "Where's Rey?" And then we cut to Octu, and these are the best scenes in the movie. And this has been controversial amongst fans that when Rey hands Luke the lightsaber and he looks at it and he just kind of tosses it over his shoulder, like, "Fuck you, kid. I'm not doing this."
I think that's the best thing he could have done. Like, I'm sure there was just like a bunch of anticipation waiting on what Luke could have done from The Force Awakens, and him just throwing it really symbolizes what he wanted to do with the Jedi.
Yeah, people were saying that it was disrespectful to the memory of Obi-Wan. The fact that Obi-Wan gave him the saber.
He tried doing it justice. I mean, it's like he didn't try. He tried, and he failed miserably.
I know.
I guess that's doing him not justice.
I know. I was expecting a Yoda-Luke relationship with Luke and Rey training on Act 2, but I'm glad. Yeah, I was glad that we didn't get that though. I mean, it's not like Yoda wasn't super weird when he was training Luke either, but that it wasn't strictly like Rey's here, she's gonna train, then she'll be perfect and she'll leave now. Like, I'm glad it didn't end up like that, and we had the whole flashbacks and the connection between her and Kylo. Yeah,
and the training between Rey and Luke was more about the philosophy of what it means to be a Force user. The fact that the Force doesn't belong to you, doesn't belong to the Jedi, that it's more about the balance between life and death in the world. The fact that Luke says to Rey, what do you want me to do, walk out and face the First Order with a laser sword?
I think it was the best explanation of what the Force actually is in this movie. Like, I never really had like a full understanding what the Force is, but I feel like Luke did a pretty good job at summing it up.
I think my favorite part of that whole sequence was when, I don't know if it was that or in a later scene, when Luke basically thinks of the Jedi as a failure. Like, they were in charge and they let Palpatine take control while the Jedi was at its height, and it's continuously failed. It failed Anakin. It failed. He failed Ben Solo in his own right. So I kind of like that disconnect where he doesn't know if the Jedi Order is right anymore. I guess that's what he says later when it should die. So I think that conflict between Luke really plays into the story with his relationship to Rey.
Yeah, and that first scene when they arrive on Octu and Luke's in his hut and the door kind of flies open. Did you guys think that was Rey?
I thought it was Force Rey. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Rey, what is Rey up to, man? And then it's Chewbacca. Yeah, that was awesome. And then that's when Luke first discovers about Han. He says, "You're here in the Falcon. Where's Han?" And then it cuts to Kylo Ren. And that scene between him and Snoke, one of my favorite scenes. The Snoke just tearing this kid down when Kylo Ren's got the mask. "Take that ridiculous thing off."
It shows, though, how egotistical Kylo Ren is and how bad he wants to be Vader. Not even close to Vader.
Well, is he being manipulated by Snoke?
And he's so I don't like the comparisons between him and Vader. They're such different characters. Just their own.
Not the prequel era of Vader.
Not really. Not really.
He's like a superior version to Anakin.
Both Jedi's.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Vader, like Darth Vader, like
yeah, Vader's more
trilogy
one-dimensional, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's just he's really cool.
Yeah.
Can you picture Kylo Ren having like a sand moment? I totally can.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Can or can't?
Can.
Yeah, but I think he would deliver the line better.
I don't
like sand.
I just picture Kylo's listening to grunge in his hut while Luke's waking him up for training.
What do you want, Master?
He's got posters of like Vader on there.
But we also see the power of Snoke when he force zaps him. First Force lightning in the new trilogy.
Very cool.
And very, very cool. Thanos in the house. Snoke in the house. And he says that he sees a new Vader in him, and then this kind of Kylo Ren's like, get my ship ready. And this is how we start the second battle, where we find out.
He says he's no Vader.
Yeah, he hypes him up, and then he's like,
Psych.
I thought you were Vader,
Bum
boy.
ass.
Where's the mask to hide his tears? He was crying.
I just feel bad for the stormtroopers who just see Kylo like getting all his aggression out, and they're like, I need to get as far away from that as possible.
Yeah, the next battle scene, we find out that the Resistance is being tracked through hyperspeed, and I thought that was a new update to the technology, the fact that you can track people through light speed. Because light speed, to me, was always a cheat code. It's like, if you punch light speed, you could just go anywhere, you know? And then Kylo Ren, when I thought Leia died in that scene, when the bridge was blown
I thought
up.
that they probably had a different plot line for her, but after Carrie Fisher died, they were like, we'll just end it here. And then that didn't happen, and I was like, because I was disappointed. I was like, if this is how she dies, she just gets sucked out into space. Like,
And it wasn't even
I
Kylo
felt
Ren.
like she deserved better.
So did Akbar.
People forget that.
I'm in space.
I remember when I read the spoiler right before we went to the movie. I saw it on one of our own comments. Thanks, guys. R.I.P. It was like Snoke, Luke, and Admiral Akbar. I'm like, oh, fuck, Admiral Akbar dies. I just threw my phone. I'm like, that can't be real. I'm like, why would you add Admiral Akbar? It's not like...
Yeah, why would you kill
he's
Akbar?
just throwing in some other like random characters to make it seem real, but no.
Ryan Johnson
He was
ruined
dead
Star
on.
Wars by killing Akbar.
I thought it was a big moment for Kylo's character when he hesitated to shoot Leia, because he like felt the connection with her via Force.
But like, I didn't want Kylo to kill Leia, but also he just killed Han Solo. So it's like,
Yeah, but
what's the discrepancy? What's making him hesitate? Like,
think
he's
a mother-
already committed to the dark
yeah, I
side.
think a mother's
thing-
always different than I guess absentee father.
But
what
I'm
Han was
assuming
to him.
his parent, like he seemed to not have much love for either of his parents generally,
Well, he did say he didn't hate Han Solo.
and he killed him anyway. So
Right.
if he didn't hate Leia,
Well, I think he was just saying that because he bopped me like 7 times, man. I kept thinking he was coming back. He never came.
Did you guys
like Psych.
have any problems with the Leia like force flying?
I was gonna ask, was this one of the first times you really see her use the Force? 'Cause
I think
she
it
has-
is, right?
Yeah, and, well, she's
Well,
always
besides
had
her having that connection.
She had a
with Luke.
connection with Luke, but when I saw that, I was like, "What? Really?"
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Yeah, I know it's been very controversial. A lot of people thought it looked goofy, that she looked like Mary Poppins, that she kind of looked like the Wicked Witch of the West.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh, Mary Poppins, yeah.
Anyone make that yet?
But I always thought it's like when people have these adrenaline rushes in real life when they're able to pick up a car because somebody's in danger, that, yes, she has the Force within her, and this was her body going into survival mode. And, you know, as soon as she got back to the ship, she was just knocked out. She couldn't even stand anymore. But I like the moment.
She should get a lightsaber.
Yeah, that's what we need, more Force users who aren't trained using lightsabers.
They'd
would've
win,
gone-
probably. They'd win.
That'd be going over well with the fandom. And this is also when Rose and Finn were introduced to each other. And you said this was a very powerful scene because of what we saw with Paige earlier in the film.
I feel like if it was just Rose saying that she didn't like deserters and her sister died, but we didn't get to see that moment, it wouldn't have been as powerful. We kind of felt like her seeing, like, she idolized Finn, clearly, and then realizing that he was trying to desert the ship. Not really desert. He was trying to go find Rey, but, like, she didn't know that. Like, you could see her hero worship actually, like, break.
I like how they kept Finn consistent, too. That it's like, oh, I was a hero of the Resistance, but I'm not going to fight with you guys. Like, I don't care.
He was just there to help for a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to help Rey. I don't care if we win or lose.
I would have liked if on his journey with Rose to go find that hacker, if they figured out he was Force sensitive. That would have been amazing. It would have also, his story would have accomplished something, I feel like, besides Phasma dying.
I like him more as a human character, but I think you mentioned this before, and I didn't really realize it. I guess
You
but,
as me?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
so they know. Okay.
Yeah, we're not animated
Me
characters
making a
anymore.
good point here.
Yeah, you do make good points. Can't take that away from you. Does Finn act like an ex-stormtrooper?
No.
Yeah.
I think they kind of toned him down in this one, too, where his personality wasn't as big as it was in The Force Awakens. Everything in The Force Awakens.
He's really goofy and like cracking jokes. I like Finn's character, but it doesn't strike me as an ex-stormtrooper.
Isn't he supposed to be sanitation though?
Yeah, I liked how it wasn't just he knew everything about the
But they're
fucking
trained.
battleship.
They're trained in everything. They
was
just
like,
have
well,
different jobs.
As we go, we'll wing it. You know,
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
that's what I was mentioning. As far as
Somebody said that his personality being like that is the reason why he was able to break free of the First Order.
that could make sense. That's just something I thought of.
Wait,
No,
wasn't
yeah, I
he was
agree with
just
you.
taken, right?
What?
He was just taken from a family. He wasn't.
Yeah, they're all slaves, basically.
Yeah.
The stormtroopers.
Maybe he could have started like a trend.
So Princess Leia
could have the army with him.
rebellion.
Yeah.
Princess Leia is incapacitated. She's knocked out. And then a character, Amilyn Holdo, takes charge. Vice Admiral Holdo, played by Laura Dern. After reading the Leia book, I was excited for this character because they kind of made her like the Luna Lovegood of Star Wars, where she talks in metaphors and nobody really understands her. She's really offbeat. In the movie, she was just kind of very normal. You could see that they hinted at it with the way she dressed and her hair, because that was in the book as well. But it's like, why am I reading these books anymore if you're not going to keep with the canon? And I would say that about Phasma, too, just skipping ahead. Phasma's supposed to be the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy, and she's out here getting tossed into trash compactors. She's losing to Finn on some lucky, there was an elevator right behind Finn.
Yeah.
It's, that's just my own little nitpick. It's
I didn't like that either.
Keep consistent with the canon if I'm going to invest my time in buying your fucking books.
Well, Laura Dern's character, by the way, it's very nice of David Lynch to let her keep the wigs from Twin Peaks to wear on a set of Star Wars.
Diane, I'm going to start a story right now.
I don't know, the whole Holdo and like Finn dynamic and Poe dynamic, I felt like, I don't know, I'm not like a...
Could have been avoided if she just told him.
Yeah, I'm not like into strategy or like military warfare, but I think telling your best commander and your best pilot your plan, especially a hothead like Poe, who you acknowledge was a hothead and will do his own thing, I think you should let him know the plan, especially if he's so adamantly against what he thinks you're doing. You got to expect he's going to do something else.
Well, she threw me for a loop. I mean, I think
threw us all for a loop.
I think that's why they did it though, to make you think if she good or bad. Was she just sitting behind Leia,
but then
trying to not?
But is that cheap?
Yeah, it is. It's for the audience. Oh, look, we got you there, but like, and realistically, I think you would tell your best pilot what your plan is.
Yeah, well, not if, like you just said, he's a hothead. You tell him your plan, then he's going to try and do his own thing.
But if he doesn't like your
he
original
did his own
plan,
thing regardless.
If you keep him out of the loop and your original plan is like sketchy, then you would think
a
a
idea,
hothead
though.
would do his own thing.
It's a good plan.
No, it
though.
wasn't. He sent fucking Rose and Finn off into a ship that they were going to avoid.
It wasn't their fault. Wait, no, Poe did that. I'm saying, what was her name? Holdo?
Yeah.
Holdo's plan was a good plan, but they got backstabbed because of Poe.
I know. Exactly. If you tell Poe everything, then none of this happens. That's my problem with that storyline. It happens because of like something they chose to omit.
I think she didn't tell Poe because of what Poe did during the first sequence.
Yeah.
The fact that he went against orders anyway. It's like we told him orders and he was like, cool, I'm going to do something else. So Holdo's like, didn't you just get demoted? Wasn't that Leia's last act? Why would I don't know you. Leia apparently doesn't trust you anymore. Why am I going to trust you with the most sensitive plan that this resistance has
but then
ever
at the end,
hatched?
they're like, oh, I like that guy. I like Flyboy.
Yeah, because I think
I like him
You need
too.
a guy like that.
I think they knew his intentions were in the right place, but he needed to learn how to be a leader, not a hero. That was his whole heart.
It's hunky-dory at the end. It's like, he's a good kid. Is Finn still on that ship? Oh, yeah, he is. All right. Nah, come on, Paul. Let's get out of here.
What do you think? They're going to execute him for treason?
I would.
Jon Snow's
I
going to
rule
bring
an
out
Iron
Longclaw?
Fist.
A lot of
Hate
people are
that
like, why didn't you just put the cruiser into autopilot and just keep it straight through?
Well,
there?
she said that someone has to be on board to extract the mini ships.
Do those cruisers really?
I don't know what they're called.
Well, I mean, the sacrifice that she makes at the end, we'll get to that a little bit later. But the Maz Kanata cameo, hated it.
So stupid.
It felt like a video game. You need to go find the master code breaker.
How do they know to call Maz? The only person that's ever met him was Finn, right?
Well, Poe knows Maz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're all
They have a history with.
I just don't get why
okay.
they chose to go to her in like such a dire
Who's filming her?
situation.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't matter.
well, she's got the
She's
hologram.
wearing a GoPro.
That's true. Yeah. How are they talking to each other?
That was just so. Remember this character from the first movie? Here she is again. It felt, and the whole subplot too. I mean, we'll get into that when they. Well, this is when they hatch the plan as well. They're going to go to Canto Bight, find the master codebreaker to try to disable the tracker. Which at first I'm like, okay, a little Black Ops side mission here. We're going to get some like James Bond spy film. You go to the fancy casino. Oh, hello, I'm Finn from wherever. And I've come to find the master codebreaker. We'll get into that. But
I feel like that's where the humor started to mess up. But yeah, we'll go into that later.
one of my favorite scenes is when Luke goes onto the Falcon and he sees R2. It's the first time where we see that old Luke where he's like, oh, R2, my buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not trained in Jedi. And when R2 played the hologram of Leia, tear. I couldn't help it.
Really?
Oh, that got me right in the fucking heart, man.
That was a cheap shot.
It was a cheap trick.
I love that R2 immediately started cursing out Luke one.
So what are you doing on this fucking planet, man?
That's one of my favorite part of it. Like, I just love how R2 just is a huge dick, but we only can hear beeps. He's always roasting C-3PO.
I was just saying, as soon as he came up, he roasted
Calling Luke a little
C-3PO.
bitch on the Millennium Falcon.
One of the first scenes in New Hope is when he says something to C-3PO. He's like, "Don't call me a mindless philosopher."
So what was that whole narrative? Was it like because Luke was so down in the dumps, R2's not going to wake up, or how come R2
Or shut
stayed
off?
in sleep mode?
Who knows? Plot hole.
Yeah.
Just
And then
something.
he just wakes up.
Not even a plot hole. Just
R2 was depressed.
Yeah, I was thinking like because
It's like
he
a
can
cool
feel
moment,
he can
Ray
feel Luke.
Ray enters the base and R2 is awakened. Then he shows the map to Luke Skywalker. It's a good segue into the next movie, but
yeah, they just never explained it. It's like, how did Maz Kanata get Luke's lightsaber? I don't know.
R2 stays the MVP though.
So the hologram of Leia inspires Luke to train Rey, but even he's still like, I'm going to train you, but I'm going to teach you why the Jedi should end. Their first lesson when he teaches her about the Force, when she's meditating on the rock, one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
yeah, I thought it was one of the best scenes when she's actually getting to the shots too, when she's talking about like her surroundings and you get the shots of what she's seeing with the Force, life, death turning into life again, and then she sees the dark and goes immediately towards the dark, which I wish they would have played more with her having that lean towards the dark, where you see in a novelization of The Force Awakens where she wants to kill Kylo Ren, or
Yeah.
she thinks about it for a split second. Now her first lesson with the Force, she immediately goes right to the dark with no resistance. So I wish they would have played with that a little bit more, but overall it's a great scene and we get to learn more about it, and her, like a novice, actually learning about it for the first time.
Well, I thought the whole call to the dark was because the dark side had something to offer her that she's been wanting to know about for close to a decade, probably. And I think that's why she immediately went to it. And then there's a scene later in the movie where she actually goes into that hole, and that sequence was really good.
Do you
But yeah,
like that Rey's parents are actually just nobodies?
We'll get to
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'll be like, let's talk about this scene. So, what do you think about the ending? You guys are terrible. And then this also starts the connection between Rey and Kylo, and I know you were a big fan of that whole Force connection.
Yeah, I remember from the trailer, it didn't happen in the movie, but the scene where Rey's asking for like help and Kylo reaches out his hand, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. They're in different places. But then like they start having that connection. I was convinced it was gonna happen. And it didn't, but I still like the way it turned out.
Yeah.
And then the reveal that Snoke was the one who created the connection in the first place. But now he's dead and they still have it, so I don't know what that means. Is it something he had to close, or like
I think maybe once they have it,
they have it?
they know how to do it. Like they learn it, I guess. Kind of like when Kylo was in Rey's head in the first movie, and she kind of learned how to do that because she's already experienced it. So once they experience that connection, I think it continues on. But
Yeah, Kylo, when they first get connected, he says, "You're not powerful enough to do this. Why is this happening?"
It just makes me think, like, how much can he really do with like, could he like slap her if he wanted to?
Yeah, they do physically touch at one point in the movie.
well, he is wet from the environment that Rey's in,
And then they touch hands as well.
yeah.
It kind of felt like Schmeagol and Gollum for me. It was like you're seeing these two. The way it was shot too. It was like these personalities that keep changing when the camera shifts. But that was a cool addition to what you can do with the Force. The fact that you can be trillions of miles away from somebody, but you can physically be there.
But that's when I thought when Ren said that you're not powerful enough to do this, that's when I thought they were going to build on how strong Rey
That's
is.
a good call to later in the movie with Luke, how he's able to transfer his appearance to Kylo and he ends up killing
From
him.
where here to fucking wherever they are, pretty much.
Yeah. Those are my favorite scenes. I love when she calls Kylo a monster, and he's like, "Yeah, I am a monster." And she kind of, in her eyes, you kind of see like a little hesitance, like, "Oh,
Oh, okay.
that's fucked up in the head, huh?"
Well, acting.
He's really fucked up, huh?
He is a little. No, it shows like that. He's aware of what he is, and he's kind of
That
saddened.
doubt-
He's
that doubt-
saddened by it, and I thought that was just a great little.
The doubt you had on him, though, was pretty much gone when he said that he is a monster. You actually thought he could have been good.
No, I think it added to it because he's self-aware of what he is, but he's not happy about it. He's not like he's sad. There's sadness when he says it, and Rey is kind of like taken back by it as well. Like you can see that conflict within those scenes too with Kylo. Even his subtle acting. People were saying Adam Driver wasn't good in this movie are insane. There's one sequence when you see his eye, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, he's
When
great
his
with his facial
His
expressions.
facials, like his eyes twitching, like
Yeah,
he's kind of
yeah.
like taken back by stuff. I thought it was.
Him and Daisy Ridley. I mean, the two best performances, and as Mark Hamill as well. But those three just acting wise, they did such a great job, regardless of what you feel about the film. And then in the second lesson, I love when people mention things from the prequels, when Luke talks about how Darth Sidious was able to manipulate Anakin because a Jedi Master failed him, that through the Jedi's hubris and their arrogance and their dogma, they allowed the Empire to rise up right under their noses. That's why the Jedi must end. And then it transitions into what happened between him and Ben. And seeing this play out in 3 different perspectives. You see Luke's perspective, you see Kylo Ren's perspective, and then you see the truth. I was riveted by these scenes. I was like, what really happened here between these 2 characters?
It was so great. It's like the classic
he said, she said.
Yeah, but one side skew towards Luke, the other skew towards Kylo's perspective, and you got a
and
middle
they're both
ground.
right, almost. From their perspective, they can be considered right, because Ben doesn't, when you're a helpless child and you look up and you see your uncle about to murder you, but you don't know that your uncle regrets the decision he just made,
Yeah, but then do you think, what if Luke told him, I'm sure that he can understand, like he saw darkness in you.
Well,
I mean, if
you don't want to get murdered.
I know, but maybe if he would have explained to him why, and with Anakin, and maybe he would have understood.
Well, it was like a split second. Kylo Ren reacted on instinct.
It's also interesting to consider that like Luke lied the first time about what happened between him and Kylo, so he could just be saying he only considered it for a second, and because we have the different perspectives, you'll never really know. Yeah. Like maybe thinking back on it, he thinks it was just a split second, but who knows? If Kylo hadn't woken up, maybe he would have done it.
Well, I think the third one is the truth when Rey confronts him, because he's kind of backed into a wall and caught in his own, I guess, skewed
But once again,
that
is Luke's version of the story. I mean, he admits to wanting to kill Kylo, but
but it was very different from the first one. So I just think
if Kylo never woke up, maybe he does kill him.
Maybe.
I feel like Rey's trust of Luke was shaken when she found out that the whole truth wasn't exposed from the beginning. So
I love how Rey confronts Luke on it and says, well, you took your visions as a certainty, or something along those lines.
That's what they did to Anakin.
Well, it's funny because he didn't do that with Darth Vader. I think it's because Luke saw Kylo Ren's future and thought, this cannot be, like, maybe we can turn him towards the end, but if we can end this right now. Darth Vader, would you rather have Darth Vader died before the Empire started, or Darth Vader turned back in Return of the Jedi? You're saving millions of lives if you kill Darth Vader.
Yeah, but then we missed out on 3 great movies.
This is like, would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler kind of thing.
Yeah. But baby Hitler's your nephew.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
Yeah. Uncle, what are you doing? And also in this scene is where we see Rey actually goes into the dark side cave, and this kind of felt Lynchian to me. The whole sequence with the snaps and the waving the hand, and she's seeing all the duplicates of herself. One of the best, I think, a great Star Wars scene.
I love how she's narrating it to Kylo Ren, but we don't really see that until after. At first, I thought, like, when she was asking, like, show me my parents, and it was her, I'm like, is she, like, a clone, or is she...
That's what I thought, too.
Like, what's going on here?
I was like, my Palpatine theory was right.
Palpatine is on the other side. Good.
Well, how did you interpret that scene, the fact that she's seeing all these duplicates? My explanation would be that she buried the truth about her parents so deep inside of her mind, and that's why she saw herself. Show me my parents. You already know.
You raised yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're self-reliant. And
how old was she when they took him? Is that
she was a kid.
Flashback, she was like 2?
No. She was like 8.
8?
Yeah.
I put her around like 6 to 8. She was definitely like a kid.
Yeah, I'd say that, between 6 to 8.
I'm not really good at like children ages. Either a baby or like 6.
Or 18. Kid's a baby.
I interpreted that scene as Rey going to the dark side, trying to get what it was supposed to offer her, and then it wasn't the answer she wanted.
It's almost like she wanted the dark side to lie to her. Like, tell me a different truth. I know the truth. I've repressed it, but I want to see Qui-Gon and Mon Mothma. That's my. Did you think? I thought they were going to show us something crazy when I saw the 2 figures. I was like, oh shit, yo.
Same.
And that would have been if she was connected to somebody else. That would have been a great way to reveal it. I thought in that moment.
Yeah.
But it reminded me too of Harry Potter looking at his parents. In the
that
mirror.
was.
But it would have been like if it was someone we know, but she wouldn't know. She'd be like, "Oh, who the fuck
Honestly,
is this?"
When Kylo and Rey were having their whole
That's
connection
Darth Maul.
When Kylo and Rey were having their whole connection thing for like a split second, I was like, "She's a Horcrux."
She's a Horcrux. We need to kill her.
Yeah, and then right after that, it's following. That's when Rey and Kylo share that moment together where
they actually touch.
Yeah.
And Luke is like, what the fuck? It's like
sick.
a cock blocking chaperone. not on the first date, kids. And the sparring scene too, where they both grab the different staffs, and Luke's like, just fucking.
She got the saber. He's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. But I love when he caught himself too.
Yeah.
When he was like, you think I'm gonna fall, kid? Get out of here, you rookie.
Do you think Luke knew that it wasn't them two doing that? Like it was Snoke
No,
backing
I
down,
don't
something like
think
that.
so.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, he had himself cut off from the Force. I mean, but he also did Force destroy that whole house. So who knows?
Well, I think he came back when he was like testing his powers.
So I think like he did have himself cut off from the Force, which is why he didn't suspect it before. And then I think by then it was probably too late. Like the connection was already forged.
Yeah, and that drives her decision to go sleek out Kylo. She feels the conflict in him, and she wants to go turn him.
Yeah, she hands the lightsaber to Luke and says, "Are you gonna fight with us?" No.
You're gonna help out or no?
Okay, then yeah. Then I need to go
also
get
like
Kylo.
though that he said like, "What do you expect? I'm gonna defeat the First Order with a laser sword." Because like what was Luke gonna do? He's not a one-man army.
And then at the end,
He's a one-man
yeah.
army.
It was a good foreshadowing to something
true.
that doesn't fully come true.
Yeah.
I love how he used laser sword too, because that's what George Lucas calls them. It's like, well, these lightsabers with their these Jedis with their laser swords.
Is it time to talk about Finn and Rose's excellent adventure?
Do we go to? Is that next? Canto Bite?
I think we skipped over it because it flips in between with the Luke and Rey stuff. It's
But
kind of
do you not like that pairing, or you do like it?
Finn and Rose.
Yeah.
The characters themselves aren't bad, but I feel what they do is just awful.
What are
Like,
those
that whole
horse
sequence
things
is
called?
So terrible.
The horse things, the Folliers,
I just don't like those.
Oh, they look
that was
so
my biggest issue.
goofy.
They look like really big like
Camels.
cats.
A camel, cat,
A giant camel.
horse.
They look like something you would see in a Harry Potter movie, but when it's in Harry Potter, it's like, oh, okay, magical creature. But in Star Wars, it's like, this does not. I mean, the fact that they run into Benicio del Toro.
Are we talking about
Was
it?
that necessary? The guy
I
would
guess so.
speak fine and then stutter in like a couple scenes later.
The
What
one thing
fucking luck,
didn't-
huh?
Yeah.
Just get thrown in prison with a guy who can fucking hack
Yeah.
the.
I didn't like that
Sword
they
Destroyer.
went there looking for a specific hacker and then managed to find a different one who could do exactly what they needed. Like, I wish at least they had left with the person they went there for.
Like, I always push back on the coincidences of The Force Awakens. You know, what are the chances Rey and Finn run into each other with BB-8? It's like, that's just their destiny. We're following the story how it went. If it was somebody else, we'd be following their story. But the
really
coincidence of DJ just being in their cell, like you said, it's stupid.
And all the characters, CGI characters, and all the goofiness going on. It turned like a slapstick comedy for like.
Also,
I wish it was like a gritty, this is how the rich live.
all I needed them to do was to have Benicio del Toro's character wearing that pin, and I would have been like, okay, that's who they were looking for.
Antonio Banderas.
Then it could have been like Destiny, like they went into the cell with the guy that.
I'm not saying
the
it's
same
Destiny, but-
concepts could still apply.
Yeah.
Like if the guy also happened to be wearing that pin that
Yeah.
Maz Kanata said, and maybe like the other guy could just be a plot hole or a fluke or something.
The guy who was wearing the pin is such a good actor too, Justin Theroux. It could have just been Justin Theroux's role. Like they could have.
I was hoping maybe Rose can hack out of the cell, and then they end up finding the guy in the casino.
And they
room.
get arrested for parking on the
Yeah.
beach.
It was just thrown in there. It's like, oh, we need some time to fill. And then the whole stuff, and they're on the balcony, and like they try to give Rose's character some depth, and it's like, oh, you really don't like this place? She's like, no, look around you.
What's
I
wrong
see
with
a
the
horse race.
Oh,
Seems
I know
fine to me.
I know exactly where to look.
yeah. Not very specific there.
Like, oh, seems fine to me.
Poor animals.
It felt like a filler episode in the animated Clone Wars series where it's like you have to get to the 26 episode quota, so we'll give them something stupid to do for the kids.
Well, that's
it's
what
like
I
a
s-
for the kids episode.
That's what I said in the original review, like how the movie only takes place over a 3-day span, so you need something for them to do. And
Or
you need-
just don't have them do that. Just keep them on the resistance ship. You know, give them something else to do, or make that part clever.
yeah.
You know, like that. You can do that. You can send Finn and Rose off on this mission, but make the mission more
Maybe have Rose
a
be
battle
the
of wits.
hacker.
Yeah,
Just have Rose be the hacker, and then they just take it from there.
Yeah, they could have just did a spy mission on the Snoke ship. The thing that I did like about Canto Bight was it was a commentary on the military-industrial complex of Star Wars.
Well, yeah,
The
it's a
fact that-
bunch of warmongers. you
Yeah,
know.
that they don't care if it's the Resistance, the First Order. They're making their money. You know, that's something I never thought I'd see in Star Wars. You know, commentary on military-industrial complex.
Mixed in with animal cruelty.
Oh, I hated that. It's like, well, it was almost worth it. She lets the animal go free.
So yeah, you know
Now
we're
it's
probably
worth
gonna die, but now it's worth it.
Yeah. What?
Now it's worth it. All our friends are dead, and our the fuel's about to go off. But no, it's worth it.
And then we get to the scene where Poe kind of takes control of the ship against Holdo. This is once again, if she would have told him the plan, does this ever happen?
Yeah, I was totally with him when he was gonna mutiny.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
was I.
Go Poe. Like,
Like,
yes.
Hondo's fucking retarded. Listen to the guy.
Hondo?
Yeah. Well, what's her name?
Holdo.
Hondo.
Should probably cut that out.
Yeah.
Amulax batteries.
What's her name?
Holdo.
Right. Hondo.
Honda. Cruising in my Honda. And then Poe's mutiny kind of doesn't last that long because Finn and Rose, they get on the Star Destroyer. They get captured by Captain Phasma. It's like, hey, remember me? I didn't die in The Force Awakens. Great, Captain Phasma. Good to see you.
Are you going to do something now?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Okay. Like my armor, though, right? You're going to buy my toy.
Shit is fresh, though.
I like her gun.
Pew,
Yeah.
pew, 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 pew.
You think that it was going to be Leia that shot Poe?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I saw that
I
coming.
thought it was definitely Leia breaking down the door.
Yeah.
I didn't think that. I thought it was just... What's her name?
Lord Dern.
Holdo, Diane, Leia, and Holdo. They have that conversation where, and this relationship was established in the book, so it was nice to see them saying their goodbyes.
Yeah, it was a little weird because I guess I didn't read the book, so I don't know that relationship. It's like they just want to do all this stuff, and everything's like,
I cannot tell you how much her character is different from
Yeah.
how she is in the book. I was waiting for her to say something witty and weird and freak people out. I feel like the character would have been so much better if she was talking in metaphors, and that's why Poe didn't like her. It's like, what are you fucking talking about, crazy lady? We're about to fucking die. But, whatever. And then we go back to Octu, Yoda.
Puppet Yoda.
Puppet Yoda.
That was
So
amazing.
happy.
And people who said that it was... Are you looking at the Yoda
Yeah.
poster? People who said it was fan service, I cannot disagree more with that. Yoda needed to be in the scene. These are the two masters that the Jedi have failed under their watch, really. It's so similar what happened with Ben and Luke to what happened with Yoda and Anakin. The
It
Jedi
is the
Order
same
failed
thing.
them. Yeah.
It's not even like it's similar. It's the same.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not 100% fan service. There's some elements of it. It's not 100% needed, but I still fucking loved it. It's fucking Yoda.
I
Can't
felt like
complain
it
about
was
Yoda.
needed, though.
Yeah, you needed to...
I felt like Luke needed that push. You
put-
you need to check Luke.
because the Jedi have stood for thousands of years. And
It's a
Luke
hard
is-
decision to make on your own to
Yeah.
end everything that happened and have Yoda's approval is kind of like, okay.
He just destroys it with the lightning.
Even though Ray boogied those books out real quick.
Page
you read-
turners, they were not.
Did you read those books?
Yeah.
I shifted through them.
Yeah, I was skimming the pages there.
His lightning strike, Yoda's, really brings up the question of how much can you really do after you're dead as a Jedi?
I think it's because it was the first Jedi temple and it was so...
Forcey.
Yeah, there was so much...
I think that's a technical term in the
Forcey,
books.
yeah.
It's,
It was very forcey. It was a forcey island. That Yoda was part of the island. He had that force energy that was flowing through the first Jedi temple.
Was he there? He wasn't. No, he just wasn't there when the first Jedi were made, right? He's not like one of the first
No,
Jedis.
no. Yoda's 900 years old when he died. But I'm sure he's visited Octu.
Yeah.
I think he has a summer home on the other side of the island.
I guess they haven't spoken since Return of the Jedi. Because he says, I missed you, Master Skywalker. I thought maybe he'd be keeping in touch with Yoda every now and then. How am I doing,
Well,
Yoda?
no, he blocked himself off from the
But you
Force.
can miss someone
yeah,
after
that's
like
right.
a year.
Yoda didn't appear as a Force ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi.
No, he did. That's the last time
yeah,
we saw
so
him.
that's the last time you saw him. Okay.
And I love the line that Yoda says. He says, what they become, that is the greatest burden of a master. That you can train somebody, but you're responsible for where they end up. And one of the main themes of the movie is failure, and Yoda talks about how failure is the greatest teacher, that we can't lose Rey. We might have failed with Ben, but we cannot lose the girl Rey.
Well, that's one of the themes of the movie. I feel like when The Last Jedi is just all the mythology and the legend and lore about them, but they're remembered for their failures.
Do you guys like that the Last Jedi is not a Jedi Master and that it's Rey?
Uh,
Right,
well,
like
I
the
think-
savior of the Jedi is Rey now.
It's nice. You say, you set up a new path, new characters. If it was the same old Luke Skywalker or Yoda or Obi-Wan, then it's, you want to do something new and fresh.
Then you should have trained with Rey enough to be a master and have her master the Force. Maybe speed up those lessons.
I think it's just like a cool title.
But I think the lessons were... No, I think it's about Luke, though. It's
Yeah.
not about Rey being the last... He says, I will not be the last Jedi. Rey's not going to be the last Jedi. She's going to further the Jedi Order.
it also could
Yeah,
be...
but she's not even a master. How's she gonna teach thousands?
This
stole
whole
the
thing with
books.
the prequels that established that you need to get them when they're 2 years old and
Well,
put
that's
them
what they're-
through school. The
They
training
put that to
between...
bed already. But
Yeah, but the training between Luke and Yoda was more about what it means to have this power and how to use it and how not to use it. It
could
wasn't
s-
about like swinging a lightsaber and
Yeah, you could say the
lifting
same thing
rocks.
about Luke after Yoda. Once Yoda died, was Luke really a Jedi Master? No. He just ushered in a new era of Jedi later on. And I think that's part of the title too. The Last Jedi, the old Jedi Order is no more, but there's something new that can happen with Rey and what she learned from Luke and her guidance. And
Anders?
Thanks. Oh yeah, you're still here.
So the next sequence is, we go Luke and Yoda, and then we go Rey and Snoke. It's like, is that the next big two? That'd be interesting. Some Snoke lessons.
At first, the first thing I thought was how cool the Royal Guard looked.
Oh yeah.
They were killing it in like that space samurai thing.
Yeah.
But
His throne room too.
Yeah.
The hue of red.
At
Really
first,
cool.
I thought it was gonna go similar to how Return of the Jedi went with Palpatine and Vader and.
Well,
Luke.
when they were coming up the elevator, I was
Yeah.
like, please don't rehash Return of the Jedi.
Well,
I
he
can't.
did
those
show
two-
all the ships blowing up.
Yeah, that was like, I guess the shield will be operational when your friends arrive. But that whole sequence, I mean, this is one of the best scenes in the.
Oh, it's a clear standout of the whole movie for me. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. Do you want to put your little rant in now, or are you good?
Oh, about Snoke?
Yeah. This is what, if you've watched our first non-spoiler review on the channel, the thing you say at the end is one thing. What'd you say? I don't want to quote you exactly. One thing
There's
I
that
fucking
genuinely
hated.
pissed me off.
Yeah, it pissed you off. And this is it. Let's hear it.
Since I've said that, I've read some theories on why Snoke made this decision. But, I mean, J.J. Abrams is known as the mystery box film director, with Lost, with Star Trek, with The Force Awakens, that he establishes all these mysteries. And this movie kind of said, fuck you to those mysteries in ways that I liked and ways that I didn't like. Snoke was the one that I didn't like. Because you set this guy up as this mysterious figure. For 2 years, we're wondering, where did he come from? Who is he? Is he Darth Plagueis? Is he a Sith Lord? And they kill him off before he gets the chance to really do anything. Before he has a confrontation with Luke, I would have liked to see those powers that be go head to head. It's tough to say because I know they want to put Kylo Ren as the central villain, but why even have this character then? Then just have Kylo be the central villain to begin with. Or you know what? If this scene happened in 9, like if we would have got Snoke doing some badass shit throughout 8, maybe a fight with Luke, and then this happens in 9, I would have been like, that's a satisfying Emperor type character.
Well, if we had more of Snoke in 7, then also I think
Yeah.
8 would have worked too. For me,
Because they set it up as it was like a cock tease.
For
That's
me,
what
I gotta-
Snoke was.
I know, but for me, I got to see what happens in 9 to make my decision on that because it all depends on what they want from the story. So it could make sense after you see 9 and complete the trilogy, where you're like, oh, maybe that does make sense because we need Kylo Ren to do this, or Kylo Ren needs to take this next step. So I agree with you. I mean, I would like to see a little bit more from that, but
Do you want Snoke to be left alone now, or do you want additional lore to his character?
The thing is, I know where it ends up. It's almost like The Matrix. They say, oh, let's do a Matrix prequel. Yeah, well, I know where The Matrix ends up, and it's terrible. The third Matrix is horrible, so I don't care about Morpheus's origins. Same thing with Snoke. I know he's going to get fucking clapped without him really doing anything in the big movies. Like, you can read the books, you can watch the shows. The movies are the real hardcore canon. They're the core of the story. I don't care where he's from now. Like, if they came out and said he's Darth Plagueis, I would be upset because I'd be like, then why'd you kill him?
I still would like to know how he got into his position. How did he become Supreme Leader of the First Order? How did he
In a
learn
prequel trilogy?
I don't want a prequel trilogy, maybe a book or something.
And that's
Just
Ryan
say it.
Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh,
So
God.
you'd be happy if Kylo Ren is the new Supreme Leader now? If Kylo Ren acted on his own and killed him, so now he's just, like, he did it on purpose.
So
Like,
you-
I thought he killed
You
him.
think you killed him just to gain power?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because when I first saw it, and then I started thinking about it, when I first saw it,
You
I
thought he went good?
Yeah.
It's
And
kind
then
of
I
a
was
mix.
like, oh wait, he wants to.
If you want to get
wants
to
to
that
be him.
decision, I think Kylo's decision to kill Snoke, he's still like in a mixed up place. He really doesn't know where he is. I feel he needs Rey a lot. I think he wants to rule at Rey. He wants to start something new. He even says at the end, after that whole sequence, that forget the old, basically forget the First Order, forget the rebellion,
Let everything die.
let everything die.
Jedi,
Let's start
Sith.
new. Why do we have to stick to these parameters that are lined up for us? We can do our own thing. We don't have to be a slave to what previous generation of Sith and Jedi
Good and
have
bad.
been. So I think killing Snoke was just freeing him of what he is. He wants to be his own person. And
I saw a theory that commented on our review, the animated review, and I forget who posted it. If you're watching this, just comment and I'll pin your comment. They said that Snoke was manipulating Kylo into murdering Snoke. That he knew if he forced Kylo to kill Rey, then Kylo might go to the light side because he had already killed Han Solo. If he kills somebody else that he loves in a platonic way, that he respects her power and he thinks that they can do something together. But if he was to manipulate Kylo into murdering Snoke, then he'll further the dark side. He'll take up Snoke's mantle, take an apprentice for his own. And that's the way that they can continue.
So you think
because
Snoke...
I think Snoke was skeptical about Kylo, that Kylo was going to turn to the light no matter what. But the only way to keep him on the dark was for Snoke to sacrifice himself.
That's interesting.
Okay. If that's the reason,
well, Snoke's a big picture guy. Then he's very unselfish.
If that's the reason, then
team player.
That's a great decision to me. I think that's a ballsy decision. Here's your Emperor character. Nope, sorry. This is his true
Palpatine
intentions.
would never do that. He wants to live for as long as he wanted. Snoke's all about.
Well, Palpatine was destroying the Empire after he died. He's like, burn it all down. If I don't want a successor, which is pretty interesting. But then the action scene, the lightsaber scene,
so fucking sick.
Oh,
that was amazing.
Best lightsaber fight in Star Wars.
Just the things surrounding it, like the build up and how you have Kylo and Rey teaming up and fighting. Have we seen that where
it's like bigger Jaws. Oh, we have a common enemy.
Bigger Jaws. Yeah.
Jaws.
I like Rey's pass to Kylo, and then he like turns on the lightsaber right into the guy's head.
That was perfect. And when she grabs Kylo's lightsaber too, I was like, "Oh shit, yo!"
When she had the red lightsaber,
yeah. And when she did the Arya knife drop,
yeah. No, I would say it was the bulky knife drop.
Okay, yeah.
From what was it, Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
So, good thing Disney bought Star Wars, or she wouldn't have rights to that move.
And then we see Kylo Ren tell Rey who her parents really are. What did you guys think about the decision to make Rey's parents nobodies?
I liked it.
It was funny. You're no one. Your parents are nobody.
That's how you get humor from that?
Well, no, but I just thought it was like the way he said it was funny. Like,
yeah,
you're nobody.
I thought the same thing. I thought the way he said it was kind of funny. Like I laughed, and I was like, I shouldn't be laughing.
But I like how he was like, but I don't care about that because you're someone to me.
I think he was trying to enforce how insignificant she was to everybody else, but to me, you're somebody.
I feel like it pissed her off a little because he was just like saying, "You're dirt, you're shit." But hey, work with me. I'm gonna recruit you.
He straight up said, "You have no place in this story." She's like,
"She doesn't."
I'm the lead.
Well, yeah, like in a Star Wars story, but like
I'm the Last Jedi guy.
You know what I am, guy.
But like I think it ties into what he was saying about get rid of everything. Like,
would you have liked to see her be related to somebody that was in the
yes
the
and no? Because if it was, it's like, oh, that's fan servicey. Here's Rey Skywalker, Palpatine, Kenobi,
Jar Jar,
Ray Binks,
Ray Hutt.
The Hutts are gangsters.
The Hutts are gangsters. Can't trust those Hutts. What about you guys? Did you think she should have been related to somebody?
I think either way, I would have been happy. Like, I like the way it was handled here, how she was nobody. Partly because I'm glad, like, the next movie, like, Leia is obviously not going to be in it. Luke is dead. Maybe he'll reappear as a Force ghost. Han Solo wants nothing to do with Star Wars anymore. So it's going to be a movie where there are no Skywalkers or anyone related besides Ben.
Feud.
Besides, like, Ben Solo. And he's evil. So it's not going to be, like, solely based on the Skywalker family, which I think is nice. It's a refresher.
What's good with that is that it opens the door to more Jedis. Like, you don't need to be related to one of those guys to be
Which
a Jedi.
is what I think the scene at the very end of the movie that I know you guys don't like was doing. It shows Rey was a nobody who's Force sensitive. Broom kid, yeah. Like, I think that's what it was establishing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
She just hopped in the room and started flying. That's how you intertwine the Star Wars and Harry Potter universes together.
That's Warner Brothers.
For a split second, I thought that kid was
Disney
11.
could buy Warner Brothers too. They're buying everything. Let it happen.
They bought us out. That's why we like the movie.
Yeah, you know, they were saying, I'm like, oh, everyone's seeing the movie for the second time. Why are they all liking it so much? And I walked in. I go, yeah, ticket for The Last Jedi, please. Like, oh, is this your second time seeing it? I'm like, yeah. Did you like it the first time? I'm like, no. I was like, all right, we got a special room for you. And it just Mickey with a gun.
It's me.
He just like watched the movie. And after, I'm like, wow, it's pretty damn good.
Mickey and his goons, and Pluto and Goofy on each side. I mean, to me, people who have been saying that it's a big F you to the fans to say that Rey is nobody. How many times in our society...
Anakin was nobody.
Yeah, Anakin was born as a slave. His mother was just...
Midichlorians.
Don't say that word. how many times in our society do we celebrate rags to riches stories? We love those things. Like, Abraham Lincoln came from nothing, self-educated. Oprah Winfrey, billionaire, came from nothing. LeBron James came from nothing. The guy who founded Starbucks, dirt poor. Ralph Lauren, dirt poor. And everybody's saying, oh, she can't be nobody. Why not? Not everybody has to be related to a royal fucking bloodline. Even though Jon Snow, he's Targaryen. That's awesome. But that was handled with such subtlety. I think my problem with Rey being a nobody is, why did you make it a mystery then? Just come out and say it in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Don't tease us with this whole that who is
Could be
she?
with
It's
someone.
like Ned telling John, it's like, we'll talk about your mother someday, and it turning out to be like just what was it?
Lysa Arryn. Did you see Lysa Arryn in this? She was one of the.
She was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Was she really?
Yeah, she was one of the people operating the computers when Hux was getting the call from Poe.
She was that giant monster that Luke milks for the green milk.
That was gross.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
When
Rey
drinks
he
it.
was like violently drinking that milk.
Moments like that too.
smile.
The first time, moments like
was
that,
funny.
like milking the creature, like, I was kind of like, oh, come on. But then second viewing, I'm like, all right, whatever. It's
like
like
his day-to-day. I love when Rey says to him, he's like, you don't have much to do. I've seen your daily routine. But Rey, to me, she's the embodiment of the American dream in Star Wars. So if you don't like Rey, then you don't like America.
strong.
How the hell did DJ know that the transports were going to Crate?
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Holdo's like, this
I
is
didn't
my
get that
top
either.
secret plan. I've
Unless
told
he hacked in
nobody.
somewhere and saw
Yeah,
it.
how does DJ know?
Wait,
Wait, what
so
are you
when
saying?
did Poe find out about it?
Wait, what do you say?
Poe found out about it when he woke up on the transports.
Yeah, Poe didn't know about
Okay,
it.
so he didn't know about it beforehand when he was coordinating with
No.
them while they were on the ship. Okay, so I don't know why when I think about it, I think he had told Finn and Rose, and then because he was just there.
Didn't post that.
That's what I thought
You
happened.
overheard on the walkie-talkies?
No, the transport plan. Poe didn't know until he woke
No
up
one
on
knew.
the transport. Remember, he was knocked unconscious, and they kind of wheeled him in, and then he woke up and he was like, "Where are we going?" And then Leia breaks down the plan.
The part you didn't like when they didn't.
At that point, Finn was already captured. DJ was captured.
didn't
Rose was
he-
captured. How would DJ know that they
No.
were going to Crate?
So I think he didn't know what Holdo's plan was exactly, but right before he mutinied, didn't he find out that
Oh, they were loading up transports.
they were loading up
Okay,
transport
right,
ships?
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he didn't know the whole plan, but he knew part of it, and I think that was enough.
Well, that was a great line that DJ says to Finn as well. When Finn's like, "You traitor, you sold us out." He's like, "They blow you up today, you'll blow them up tomorrow. I win either way."
I guess a good scene was when they saw that this guy was supplying X fighters for the
Right.
resistance.
X-Wings?
What did I say? The same fucking shit, Aaron.
Sorry, I love when he, like, it's not a big deal, but I love when you get little things wrong and I can just be like a pompous nerd about it. Like,
Meanwhile, there's the same guy selling TIE fighters. When it's
Yeah.
like,
There you go.
You can't trust anyone.
go, Ted.
I know my stuff.
Does the lightsaber choose the Jedi?
Good.
Yeah, but that once again commenting on, capitalism and how people exploit both sides of the war in Star Wars.
So Rey has no lightsaber now.
Well, not up to
So what's the title of episode 9?
We're getting there.
You guys see Luke had a red kyber crystal in his cave?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was from Vader's saber.
You
And
tell
Snoke
me.
had a ring, and it had like a rock from Mustafar that he visited Mustafar, and he took like a rock from where Vader's castle stood, and he like
That's
wore
sick.
it as a ring because he was a Vader fanboy.
Get over it. So what's next?
Fucking Vader fanboy yourself. What are you talking
He's
about? That
wearing a
would be
mask
you.
right now. If you guys, he's wearing a Vader mask.
Yeah, he's got a Vader t-shirt on right now. I love Vader. Well, then it jumps to the Holdo scene when she goes light speed into the ship.
That was amazing.
That was
great.
Like, despite everything that happened with her before, when she goes light speed and destroys the ship, that was great. I love that.
That's a great scene.
Dead
our
silence.
theater was like cheering when it happened. I'm like, Finn's on there though. Guys,
I mean, I
guys.
was kind of
Gotta get
amazed
your guys
that
off.
Finn and Rose managed to survive that.
Well, yeah, it helps when you're like the main character.
Like, shout out to plot armor, but
That's Star Wars, though. I
yeah,
mean, not everything can be.
I knew they weren't gonna die, but I was kind of hoping there would be some
And
like
Phasma and the
actual
troopers are, like,
consequences.
also,
Like she
Oh.
she
Still in
squads
for-
up.
still
She
in
has more
formation.
troopers
Yeah.
Yeah,
afterwards
yeah.
than she did before.
and there's one ship perfectly.
yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, that, I
There's
didn't like
one
that
ship
either.
perfectly like sitting right there.
I didn't
Yeah.
like that. Well, wait, wasn't that
BB-8 in the AT-AT.
Isn't that Ren's ship?
Or the Walker.
Yeah,
That was
things like that. Like, come on, BB-8 is
I'm
funny.
really
And
surprised.
the same thing. Like, it's like when it pissed me off too.
When
It's
he shot the
coins
coins.
thing. I'm like,
why was he lighting them up? though?
that drunk alien didn't put that many coins in his fucking thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
And after like you put 5 coins in, you got to realize it's not a slot machine.
He's drunk.
True. We've all been there, I guess, huh?
We have.
I'm surprised Rose didn't die. I thought that was gonna happen when she.
Wait, isn't that? Like, wait a minute. That's not the last scene.
Are you doing a bit now?
Good. I like this guy.
That Han
You know what?
Solo's
I want
cool.
to nitpick on Star Wars quick.
Oh,
Can
boy.
Let's go.
No, it's not anything big, but
Oh,
why can everyone drive every single ship they have?
Oh, that's so true. Why is Rose? She's like, oh, I work behind pipes all day, but I'm an expert flyer with these speeders
Yeah.
that nobody's ever flown before.
Good shit, Ted.
It's a good nitpick.
Thanks, man. Oh, so it was a good one?
Yeah. It was
We got Finn taking on Phasma too.
All right, one more thing.
Okay.
Again, and the thing is, I didn't go to this movie to see Captain Phasma, so I don't even care that she didn't have much to do.
It's like, hey,
know?
Chrome Dome. He had a lot of catchphrases in that one sequence alone, Finn.
Hit her with the hey. That's a good.
I didn't like how they had him, like we started earlier with the floating elevator door, or whatever it was that he landed on.
Yeah,
And he
the
ends up
lifting
winning.
platform.
Yeah, they should have just had him beat her. Not like
Oh,
she turns her back. Yeah, she didn't look down there and see where he was.
I was kind of like, they're not gonna make him force sensitive, but what if he starts using the force in that moment? It would have been dumb.
enough with Finn in the Force. It's not gonna happen.
Part
Until
of
it
me wants
does.
it to happen. Like ever since he was using the lightsaber in Force Awakens, it's like, what if he was force sensitive?
You know that scene where he puts the blanket on Rose? I was thinking like if he could just push the blanket over, like maybe he's force sensitive. I kind of like having like your normal person in Star Wars.
Yeah, me too. But like, part of me thinks it's Star Wars, so they might just make it happen.
They could.
It is Star Wars.
I feel like you would see something at this point.
Yeah, little kids moving brooms and Finn's, just chilling.
I mean, he was a stormtrooper.
Well, the rebellion base on Crate, that's when they have that fight. And I guess we'll just give a general what we liked about the fight. Finn's sacrifice. I thought he was done.
I would have loved it. I mean, not.
Would
I
he
don't
have
want-
not done anything? Is that why Rose saved him? Like him flying into the
No,
machine
he would.
wouldn't have
He would have done it, and I think that would have been a great send off for Finn. Even
That's
though
what I
I,
thought
lo-
was gonna
I
happen.
love the character, it's an epic moment. He goes out as a hero, and he's like buying time. I mean, it ends up working out anyway. But Rose kind of tries to sacrifice her life for Finn's. When why don't you just? If you really wanted to sacrifice your life so bad, you should have just drove into
I
the
would have
fucking.
liked that more.
Oh, and
Thing.
Well, I think
Finn
she
and
was trying
Rose
to
make
save
it back
him.
somehow. Finn and Rose make it back from like miles out, not getting touched by anything.
What do you think of the kiss?
It's weird.
I hated that.
Finn thought it was weird too. He's like, "What the fuck?"
I watched the
I like
Yo,
Ray.
I love-
I like Ray, guy.
You don't hear me asking about Ray every 5 minutes.
I watched the Collider review, and Christian Harloff said that it was kind of like Marion Cotillard at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. Like, I love you, Batman. What?
The hell?
I thought she died.
So did I.
That's what I thought.
But it's kind
too.
of like, yeah.
I thought that's why she kissed him.
I was like,
That's 'cause
damn,
she
she
did.
only got one movie? That sucks.
But if she would have died, it's like, why don't you just do Finn's job if you're gonna kill yourself?
Well, I think she was
anyway?
trying exclusively not to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't die.
Who knows?
That's a fake news.
But it's like, let him
Star
do it.
Wars.
Like, I don't get why. I mean, I guess like Finn's your friend and you want to save him, but what he's ultimately going to do is for the better good of your resistance, and exactly what Laura Dern just did before, sacrificing her life, even though she was going to die anyway, probably. But
Yeah, it was strange. I would have rather him be like shot out of
it was
the sky.
it was an
or-
unneeded moment to like build suspense and like
Yeah, don't even have Finn do
try to
it.
capture the audience. But
It was a long sequence too. Like he was flying into that thing for a
I'm
long
waiting for it to
time.
shoot, and then he botched it. Like he didn't get the timing right.
I thought he was done. I really
but I
thought.
thought that was the best shot sequence with the colors and the clay coming up and the salt,
Oh,
the red
yeah.
salt, and
Well, that's from the Leia novel as well. That's the first rebel base that they ever built when they were first arming the rebellion to rebel against the Empire. And that's where Holdo and Leia really meet for the first time. So it was a nice little callback. I mean, it's like, hey, you read the novels, you get some things, and then we're going to disregard the other things completely. Like you said with Phasma, that Finn should have beat Phasma. If you read the Phasma novel, it's like nobody can beat Phasma besides like King Kong. Like she just kicks the shit out of everybody. And, she dies because Finn got lucky. It's
that's why I don't
And she
read.
turns around.
That's why you don't read books, right? Man, fucking books, man.
When they broke her like mask and you could see her one eye, I was like, Brienne?
Brianna, tell Jamie Lannister I love him.
What was the quote he said when
She was like, you were always scum.
Rebel scum.
I watched the original movies. That's what they used to say.
Rebel. So it's-
Yeah, rebels. And then Luke Skywalker.
Oh, finally.
comes to save the day. I thought that was really
Teddy,
him.
drink up.
What did you say when
did
Luke?
nice.
What did you say when Luke came back?
Luke came with the new haircut, and I was like, did Yoda give him the fade? Like, did he give,
I would love to see Yoda with like the scissors, man. Like
No lightsaber scissors. Like,
Yoda with the quick shape
fresh
up?
cut
Like,
you need.
and then I feel like it's even better that he was just imagining himself with better hair. Like,
Oh yeah, he's like
Well, that could be it, yeah.
I'm in such better shape. My hair's not as gray as it used to be. Yeah,
he was like, I
Hanging
dyed
down.
it a little bit, went a little darker, got rid of the grays.
it's Ryan Gosling
It's
that
like a
walks
hot-
in.
That would.
It's me, Luke. What? I don't look the same. I have been working out, you know. And, but this was. I love the scene that he had with Leia. It kind of felt like a goodbye in real life to Carrie Fisher, you know.
I think a lot of, like, obviously they didn't anticipate it, but a lot of her final scenes with characters just felt like actual goodbyes
Yeah.
to Carrie Fisher, which it's nice.
And
Like,
I
we're
think
not going to get a real goodbye for Leia, so.
Kind of foreshadowing that Luke was going to die. But, you know, real life gets in the way. Carrie Fisher. Just talking about her for a second. Good performance in this movie.
Yeah.
She had more to do in this film. And I love Princess Leia.
Yeah, when then Luke comes down, they start shooting him, and like no scratch.
Well,
like,
first of all, the wink to C-3PO.
oh, great.
Master Luke.
They start lighting up
What up,
Luke
boy?
though
What's up,
outside, and he survives.
back.
I'm like,
I
What did you
really?
think happened?
They're really
kind of-
taking liberties with the Force.
I
And what
thought
you could
that-
do
Yeah.
'cause-
I thought that everyone was going to shoot at him and he was going to straight up like stop all of the.
Me too.
I was
I
waiting,
thought he was gonna weave in between them. Like,
and like that would have been cool. But I do like what they ended up doing.
I'm waiting for one more.
Is he done? I was so shook. I thought that too. I thought he was like gathering them all in like one energy blast and just. I was like, what is he gonna do here? Is he this powerful? And I love the dirt off your shoulder Jay-Z reference. Get off me, boy. And I love when Hux is like, do you think we got him?
Is that enough?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the one thing that hinted towards Luke potentially being stronger than Snoke, just because he was able to like force project himself from across the galaxy.
The astral projection from trillions of miles away. That's got to be the greatest feat that we've ever seen
Did
in
Leia
Star
know?
Wars, right?
Did Leia know?
I think Leia kind of knew when he handed her the dice, that she was like, these don't feel like real dice
Wait
to
a
me.
minute.
But yeah, I mean, and then Kylo Ren comes down to face him, and you could see Kylo Ren when his foot would drag, you would see red, but when Luke's foot, you didn't see anything move.
yeah,
Wow,
you forgot.
I
I
didn't
didn't
even
see
notice
that.
that
Yeah.
the first time around.
I didn't notice it either. The second time I was looking for it, I was like, are there little
I looked for it
hints?
too. 'Cause I think Stuckman mentioned it too. He's like, when in the spoiler review, talking about how Ryan Johnson like made a conscious effort to direct that, and I noticed
Yeah.
it. I'm like, oh, let's
The
see.
little hints.
I see you.
I wanted them to fight, but what we got, I think, was even better.
Because it's a lightsaber fight, but they never actually touch lightsabers.
Right.
'Cause
There was no lightsaber on
No, he
lightsaber
just-
fights in
he
the
just-
whole movie.
Dodged
No.
him the whole time. He's just playing defense on him.
When he's like, I'm sorry I failed you, Ben. I'm sure you are. You fucking dick. I hate you. And Kylo Ren's face was getting really fucked up, man. It's like decaying and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did notice that too.
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted his eyes to turn yellow so fucking bad.
Oh, that would have been dope.
And
What
I-
is that, though?
What?
It's
What
a
is-
Sith.
What is the yellow eyes?
Why did I say that's so weird?
It's the Sith.
It's sad.
It's the fucking
Down in
sad.
Kentucky, those Jedi.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we starting over.
The one funny part, like I did, like actually, like really laugh at both times I saw it was when he's like, "Everyone, get that piece of junk out of the air!"
Oh, they hate that shit. That part got me excited too, man. With Rey and Chewie on the Falcon, it was just seeing Rey and the wobbling around laser gun thing.
I felt Chewie was underused.
Don't get cocky, kid.
You know who was underused? R2.
Yeah.
Well, I like BB-8. Come on,
Yeah.
R2. It's like you said, he was the MVP of the original
It
trilogy.
was.
Besides Luke, R2 does the most to stop the Empire. It's Luke, R2, the Ewoks. But Luke's death. What do you guys think about that?
I was upset.
I think it's a nice send off, like how Rey and Princess Leia are both saying like they felt it, but they didn't feel like sadness. Like it was more of an at peace death.
Seeing the binary sons.
I think it was a clever way for Luke to go out. Like he didn't get defeated. He exhausted his remaining, I guess, force and his remaining life to save what little left is of the resistance.
Is that how all Jedi die?
No,
Or
no.
No.
You have to study that.
Yeah.
You have to,
Unless you're Vader.
unless you're Vader. That,
Yeah.
and I'm Hayden Christensen.
Do you think? Well,
Why couldn't Luke just go himself? Like he's gonna die anyway.
Yeah, no shit.
Would he have gotten there in time?
He could have
even
pulled
if he
that
did have
X-wing
his
out of
ship?
the.
that's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought that's why
Out
they
of the
shot
water.
the X-wing.
Could he have gotten there in time? That's the other
Did
question.
he even really? I
They
mean,
have
like
light
he
speed.
knew where they were, but I doubt he would have gotten there in time.
There's no telling that ship even has light speed.
I'm sure he could have figured it out.
Yeah, but that moment was
He's
fucking
Luke Skywalker.
awesome.
But do you think
No, I like the new ways they showed the Force and how they used it. What'd you say, Ted?
before you knew? Well, now you made me lose my fucking thought.
Sorry.
Hold on,
God, you're the worst.
I'll get back to it.
All right, Ted.
I'm really trying to think. I had something I wanted to say.
I'm surprised Kylo didn't pick up on the broken lightsaber.
You know, Luke probably has two.
Oh yeah, that's true as well.
I don't think in that moment he was really looking at it.
Wait, did they broke the red? No, they broke the blue.
They broke Anakin's.
Anakin's.
Yeah.
So wasn't he using a green lightsaber?
No, blue.
Yeah.
He was using
Luke
the
was
blue
blue,
one?
yeah.
Who was using green?
No one has
was
green.
using
Obi-Wan.
green in this movie.
No.
In the flashbacks, Luke had a green one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. That's
that's
okay.
right.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Where's that one, huh?
He probably lost it during the.
Think Maz has it?
Yeah, Maz probably found it on Bespin.
I
So
also
the-
think the lightsaber thing is more of a hint for us than it was for Kylo Ren.
I thought that was Luke. Did any of you not think that was Luke when he pulled out the saber?
Oh, I like when it happened, I was like, wow, how'd he get here? All this
Yeah,
stuff. And then afterwards, I was like, this is great. But it's one of those things where you look back in retrospect and it's like, one, his feet didn't make
Right.
the red sand. He had the lightsaber that they just broke. Things like that.
And then Rey saves them. Poe makes the decision not to help Luke. You see that arc coming to an end where he realizes, live to fight another day. And Rey, lifting rocks. She lifts all the rocks and they all escape on the Millennium Falcon. And then Broom Kid.
All 12 of them.
Yeah, all 12. We are the spark that will light the fire.
Well, there's more.
There's only 6 of us. Yeah.
No, there's a shitload more. They're
And they
just
all
out.
sold them out.
Yeah, they all. Everyone's getting this message. No one's coming though. Where's everyone?
Yeah, they're screwed for the next movie, huh? They don't have no backup.
Well, that's what I liked about The Force Awakens is that the First Order won that movie. And that's very much the theme of The Last Jedi is that they're not trying to win. They're trying to lose to fight another day.
Well, does the First Order ever lose? Are they ever dead?
It was a victory
They
for the
just
rebellion.
destroyed the whole ship.
Starkiller.
Yeah.
But that's it.
With the kid, I guess I would love to see for next. I don't know if I would love to see it, but I guess what I suspect to see is Rey, I guess, training a new. Or is that just like a nice little like, oh, there are other out there's, but we're not gonna really delve into that.
I
But
didn't
there
get how
are-
they're gonna get them all.
The Force is still out there. Just because Luke is dead doesn't mean the Jedi or Force sensitive beings are.
Well, I want to know how they're gonna get the Force kids, I guess. So whoever is like, they can put a message out if you're Force sensitive or you feel something.
There's a
Come
thing
check us
called
out.
there's a
Call us up.
metachlorian radar gun, and you get a signal. It goes beep, beep, beep.
It's gonna be
And the
like one
closer
of
you get,
those-
it goes beep, 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 beep. So you just got to go around and try to find little kids.
It's going to be like
Set the meter off.
That would be weird. That's going back to the whole Jedi scandal with Qui-Gon and Anakin.
Do you think in the next movie they're gonna acknowledge how like the rebels just didn't come along? Like they need like
Yeah.
a mini rebel Lady Mormont to like just yell at them. Like they didn't make the
You
call.
refuse to call.
Serious?
Lord Lando Calrissian. How long do you think the next movie goes in terms of the future? Like what's the gap going to be? I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit of time. I think Kylo has to establish himself as the supreme leader of the new First Order. Maybe he takes more Sith principles. Even though, actually, no, he was trying to, I guess, distance himself from that. But I think he's full villain now. I think that conflict is kind of done. I would like him to still have a little like soft spot, I guess, for Rey, and maybe think that maybe one day he can change. But I feel that was more of a last chance effort than leaving the door open on his maybe transitioning to the light side. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
A lot of people said that Rey closing the door in the Millennium Falcon like symbolized her just closing all the connection to Kylo. So I feel like they're probably just gonna be very distant from one another in the next movie.
I think they need enough time to make Kylo stronger. I'm so
You are obsessed with Kylo Ren not being strong enough for you.
because it just the way they did it with Anakin, he was stronger in Clone Wars, and then he was Vader-esque in Revenge of the Sith. Like you see a huge jump in his power. You don't see a jump at all with Kylo Ren. Like he still gets
Or from
baby.
Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like Anakin kills Dooku by himself. Kylo Ren didn't really.
He beat
I don't know.
Rey in
But Rey, like they say in the movie, Rey is his equal from the light side.
Oh, what did you guys think about that? That's the way they described Rey's power. That's how they answered that question. Why is she so powerful? Because Ben Solo became so powerful with the dark side that the light mustered up there
He didn't
equal.
get that power.
He is very
I thought that
powerful,
was
Teddy.
interesting.
He just his adversary is his equal, so you don't really get to see his power over people that aren't. There's no real competition for him.
The face on that face was like, yeah, okay. Shut the fuck up. I don't know why you think he's not that powerful.
If they want to show that, then have him beat a few people. I mean,
But
there's
they
no
are-
Jedi to beat,
but they are still training. Like they're going to be more powerful than Luke and Snoke. They're like the successors to that. Kylo's not at his max. I mean, he did stop a blaster bolt in the last movie. We never saw that before.
You know what I'd love to see? Because Rian Johnson completely disregarded the Knights of Ren, which we learned are Force sensitive. He took 5 of Luke's students with him. So he has 4. The Knights of Ren are Force sensitive, I think, right?
Yeah. He took the 5 students. People were saying,
so where is
are
Goon?
they the guards?
No.
Were they Snoke's guards?
No, because
I would be disappointed if they were.
The way they were fighting, though, they were pretty nice.
I feel like they would have done more if they were the Knights of Ren, and if they were Force sensitive. Like,
so I would like to see him like get the boys back together.
Boys are back.
Get the Knights of
in town.
Ren
Gang back in town.
and maybe Rey, find some Padawans, maybe trains them up.
Do you think in Episode 9 we could see Rey makes a Jedi army or a light side army?
That's what I was getting to.
Kylo makes a dark side army.
That's exactly what I was getting to.
And then they fucking Jedi dark light
That's-
war.
You know what I was
said?
just getting to?
Is that what you
That.
just said?
All right, but hold on. What if
That happens.
what if that happened though? How that would
That'd be
be
sick.
that would be something we've never seen.
Oh
really.
yeah, yeah.
Because there's stories about in the Old Republic, the Jedi Sith Civil War, that they were actually armies of light side and dark side Force users fighting each other. If they're going towards that, if that's what this was setting up, then I like the movie even more.
what
But knowing
kind
them,
of
they'll be
time
like,
jump would that be? Because the only
It's gotta be,
Force
like,
sensitive people we've
15
seen
years.
besides them are
you
kids.
can't do 15 years.
I mean, I know, like,
No, but you can get like Force sensitive
16-year-olds?
Yeah.
how
like,
did they find them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
I feel like it would take a while to find enough people who are Force sensitive and train them enough to be an army. And
I'd take a 10 on 10.
I know Leia was supposed to have a bigger part in Episode 9, and obviously they can't do that now. So I don't know if they know what they're doing for the next movie.
Oh, no, they have no idea. They haven't arced out the stories at all. The fact that Rian Johnson just said, fuck you to all the JJ stuff, they're just making it up as they go. They're freestyling it.
Definitely enjoyed it more the second time. What'd I give it the first time? 6, right?
6.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'd probably. I liked it more the second time. I'm still not. It's still not my
What
favorite.
do you think about the response that it's getting? That it's so polarizing.
It's real odd.
Yeah.
But I know why people can hate this movie. Why like.
But I hate the movie. I mean, it's not even
No, yeah,
close
you're
to
right.
the worst movie I've seen in like.
Well, even if you hate the story and the characters and what they do, it's still shot beautifully. It still looks great. It's greatly well directed. So I guess the Finn stuff didn't really take that much of the movie as I first thought after my first reaction. Bump it up a little, 7.5 out of 10. Still not perfect. Still a lot of things I didn't like. But through the second viewing, expecting to see that stuff happen and already knowing that I'm not gonna like this part makes me appreciate the better parts much more.
I'd give it about an 8. I thought it had a lot of great and powerful moments. The humor around the casino was probably the lowest point in the movie to me, but overall I thought it was great visually speaking, and it had a good explanation of the Force.
I would also give it an 8. My favorite parts were the connection between Kylo Ren and Rey, and then the throne. I guess it's a throne room. The scene with Snoke where they kill him. It was like so tense, and I was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna kill Rey? Like, I love the whole thing.
Give it an 8.5, 8.5. I liked how they opened the door for the next movies, and the fact that we're going to see a lot more Jedi really attains to me, as I'm a big fan of the Jedi. I mean, I know we all are probably, right? I mean, I'm more of like, I love the lightsaber. I love lightsaber fights. I love watching it and seeing what Kylo Ren and Rey did. What's so funny?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
I love how you like.
I was looking at my phone and all I hear is, I really like lightsabers and like Jedi.
big fan of the Jedi. Big fan of those
Well,
guys.
I liked how they opened it, that there's going to be the Jedi again. That
I agree with that. I want
Yeah.
to see the new Jedi Order.
All right, yeah.
is that good enough for you?
Oh yeah, I just
So 8 out of 10, 8.5.
8.5.
I give it an 8 out of 10. Same score. I think the highs in this
you're
movie.
so consistent, aren't you?
What the hell? What was I going to say? 9 out of 10. Bump it up. And this one, no, I'm kidding. 8 out of 10. I think the highs are so good that there was a potential for a great hour and 50 movie. But like you said, there are low points that I will probably fast forward once I get the Blu-ray in March. And overall, I thought there were things that they could have established with the gray Jedi, getting rid of the Jedi, the Sith, and having Force users that channel both the light and the dark. But it seems like they're going back to, we're just getting the band back together. We're getting the Jedi Order, which I would like to see the new light side versus the dark side war, like we said. But yeah, I think people, it's Star Wars, man. Don't if you're saying it raped your childhood and that you hate Star Wars and your life is ruined, that's what some of the comments are on the internet. Take a chill pill, dude. It's a fictional movie. Go watch Lady Bird. You want a great movie? Go watch Lady Bird. Or don't complain. Go see Blade Runner 2049. I want new sci-fi. Nobody saw it. It pisses me off.
I see a recurring comment. It's like, oh, this killed the Star Wars franchise. If the prequels didn't kill the Star Wars franchise, this movie won't.
Nothing will ever kill the Star Wars franchise.
Especially now that Disney owns the whole world.
Breaking news, episode 9.
Cancel.
Fucking thanks.
It's a good ending.
It's a good ending.
That's my life.